Alright, we're going to do this very quickly. Greetings, I'm Drehon. Welcome back to the channel. This is D&Dealing with slow combat. Yes, I'm doing this very quickly because there are a lot of jokes out there about YouTubers going real slow with their videos and with combat. So we're going over this really quickly. Starting off with number 1, enforced spell preparation. Yes, that is right. We are starting things off really quickly with this list of how to make combat faster with enforcing the spell preparation rules for your players' characters. In the player's handbook and in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, there are a total of 5 classes that have this specific ruling. I'm only going to read from the wizard's spell preparation since they are the most common to take a long time with reading what their spells do and what spell they want to pick. Player's Handbook, page 114. You prepare the list of wizard spells that are available to you to cast. To do so, choose a number of wizard spells from your spell book equal to your intelligence modifier plus your wizard level. The spells must be of a level for which you have spell slots. For clerics, this is Wisdom, Druid, also Wisdom, Paladin, Charisma, and Artificer, of course, is Intelligence. If you enforce the spell preparation rule, this will decrease the number of spells that your players will have to look through in order to figure out what they want to cast. Also, instead of giving them the player's handbook to look up the spell description, I would recommend grabbing some spell cards and handing those out to your players. That way they can just look through the small stack of cards that they have with them and read those spells off. Easy, simple, and it makes combat a little bit faster. Moving on. Number 2, roll initiative rolls. That's right, rules as written. The initiative rolls has this little sentence here on the player's handbook, page 189. The dungeon master makes one roll for an entire group of identical creatures. So each member of the group acts at the same time. So, let me go ahead and explain this real quick. You have 4 gnolls, 3 kobolds, and 1 vrock in this combat. You will roll 1d20 for the gnolls, 1d20 for the vrock, and 1d20 for the goblins. Each of those rolls counts as their initiative roll, so make sure you have the appropriate modifiers. Now, of course, it will be different if you have a gnoll and a gnoll mage, or a goblin and a goblin rogue. Those will have different initiative scores as well, but this will help you with going through the initiative if you are into rolling dice. Number 3, mob attack rolls. Another YouTuber has already gone over this rule in one of their videos, so I will be brief as the other 2 rules have been. In the Dungeon Master's Guide on page 250, you have the following rule. When handling a crowded battlefield, you can speed up play by foregoing attack rolls in favor of approximating the average number of hits a large group of monsters can inflict on a target. Instead of rolling an attack roll, determine the minimum d20 roll a creature needs in order to hit a target by subtracting its attack bonus from the target's AC. You'll need to refer to the result throughout combat, so it's best to write it down. This is an excellent ruling for large-scale combats, but I have another idea. I would like to refer you to another video that I made last year, and that is my Under Siege video, where I talk about how to go over the different mechanics for incorporating a siege into your campaign. I actually went over a ruling similar to the mob attack rolls, but I simplified it into just, well, you'll have to see for yourself. It is a homebrewed thing. It is a homebrew idea that I had, so I would recommend you check that video out so I don't spoil it for you. look at me and my shameless plugs. We are running out of time. Let's get on to the next rule. Number 4, roll attack and damage dice together. This is nothing new. Many YouTubers have already stated this. Take your hand, take your d20 and your damage dice and roll them at the same time. This will save only a few seconds, but it does speed up combat that much faster. So, that's my recommendation for this tip. Hopefully, I don't bring up any more tips that other YouTubers have already gone over. We have 2 more tips left. Let's get into them. Number 5, initiative variants. That's right, there are actually some initiative variants that you can use, and 2 of them are actually much faster than rolling the dice. Having everybody roll the dice, that is. On page 270 of the Dungeon Master's Guide, we have 2 rules I would like to go over. There is a third, but it actually makes things a lot slower, so we're just going to go with the first 2. First, initiative score. Each creature has an initiative score, which is a passive dexterity check. 10 plus dexterity modifier. If there is a tie in the dexterity modifiers, then you have the players choose who goes first in the initiative order. It's actually real simple. It actually helps everybody, not just the players, but you yourself, because your monsters also have a dexterity modifier they can use for their initiative score. And honestly, I think it's excellent. I've actually used this in the campaign I'm running with my family, and it has actually sped up combat a little bit. Not by much, but it has sped up combat. Secondly, there is the side initiative. Players roll a d20 for their initiative as a group or side. You also roll a d20. Neither roll receives any modifiers. Whoever rolls highest initiative wins. Gets to go first. In case of a tie, keep rolling until the tie is broken. When it's a side's turn, the members of that side can act in any order they choose. Once everyone on the side has taken a turn, the other side goes. A round ends when both sides complete their turns. So, 1 roll, no modifiers, for 1 group. The players and your monsters. That's it. Somewhat fast, but I actually prefer the previous one with the initiative score more than the side initiative. It's up to you. But let's go ahead and get into the last tip. Number 6, massive damage and morale. I'm actually pairing these up together because they actually work very well together. Let's go ahead and explain what massive damage is first, and then we'll get into morale. Page 271 of the Dungeon Master's Guide says, when a creature takes damage from a single source, equal to or greater than half its hit point maximum, it must succeed on a DC 15 Constitution saving throw or suffer a random effect determined by a roll on the System Shock table. For morale states, to determine whether a creature or group of creatures flees, make a DC 10 Wisdom saving throw for the creature or the group's leader. If the opposition is overwhelming, the saving throw is made with disadvantage, or you can decide that the save fails automatically. If the group's leader can't make the saving throw for whatever reason, have the creature in the group with the next highest charisma score make the saving throw instead. On a failed save, the affected creature or group flees by the most expeditious route. If escape is impossible, the group or creature surrenders. To explain morale, the massive damage real quick, we'll use our Vrock as an example. It has an average maximum HP of 104. Let's say our archer makes its attack and deals 55 damage. The Vrock then has to make a roll on the System Shock table. And I kind of like some of these system shocks. Like, for example, number 1, the creature drops to 0 hit points. Die from shock? Yes, please. Number 2 is very similar, but it is stable. So it just falls unconscious from so much shock. The other 2 where it can't take reactions or has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks until the end of its turn is pretty good too. And just being stunned from the shock, that's pretty cool. I kind of like this massive damage roll, and I might use it later for my campaign. Now, let's go and explain morale. Let's say you have a adult red dragon and its kobold followers. You just killed the red dragon. The kobolds notice this and are terrified that your players has just killed their leader. So, they decide to make a hasty retreat. Now, they are running away, trying to flee. They basically have the frightened condition, but not really. They're running, so they're not going to try to attack your players. Your players can, in turn, attack the kobolds. Very simple, very easy, and very, very effective. Well, that is all the time I have for you today. I actually went slightly over my time. I do hope you enjoyed this video and the tips that I gave you today. If there are some tips that you have tried that I might have missed and has not been gone over by other YouTubers, please let me know down in the comment section. And don't forget to check out the Under Siege video, and also if you are looking for tips on how to deal with overpowered spells, I have 2 videos covering that for you. D&Dealing with OP Spells, parts 1 and 2. Again, I hope you have enjoyed. This has been Drehon, and I am now offline.